Ladies and gentlemen, what you're about to hear isn't just another hip-hop headline. It's a full-blown crisis dripping in blood, betrayal, and a mother's worst nightmare. Imagine this. A prison hit list, handwritten and soaked in real blood, is uncovered during an FBI raid. And at the very top of that list, Lil Durk's name. But it gets worse. Because when his mother saw the letter with her son's name next to the chilling words, "Finish him," she didn't scream, she didn't speak. She collapsed. Right there, in front of agents, in front of cameras, in front of the truth. How did we get here? How did the man who once ruled the charts become the target of a prison-ordered execution? Who wrote the letter? Who paid for it? And why is the FBI now saying this could be tied to a deeper conspiracy involving past murders, hidden alliances, and Chicago street politics that never truly died? This ain't just about Durk anymore. This is about what happens when fame, fear, and silence collide. The kind of silence that bleeds. And tonight, we're tearing it wide open. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get something straight right now. This is no mixtape beef. This is no Instagram back and forth. This is not another Durk diss with a fire emoji in the comments. No, this right here is a full-on federal nightmare. We're talking FBI raids, bloodstained letters, hit lists, and a mother who fell to her knees the second she read what her son's enemies had planned for him. And that son? Lil Durk. Now, unless you've been living under a rock with no Wi-Fi, you already know Durk's name has been circling scandal after scandal. From his ties to King Von, to the $120,000 jailhouse payoff that made headlines last week. But what nobody expected was what came next. Because according to new leaked documents, federal agents launched a surprise raid on a Midwest correctional facility, just days after Von's mother went public demanding answers. And guess what they found? Not just whispers, not just rumors. A literal hit order, a handwritten note, allegedly soaked in blood, with Durk's name right at the top. And the worst part? The letter was marked with one chilling line: "Finish him before he talks." Boom. That's when all hell broke loose. Sources inside the prison say the letter wasn't just passed between inmates. It was taped to the back of a toilet, hidden inside a Bible, and surrounded by code words referencing names tied to Chicago's deadliest crews. One guard, anonymously of course, told investigators he had a feeling something was coming after seeing strange movements on the security cams days earlier. But nobody, and we mean nobody, expected this. So, how does Durk's mom come into all this? Oh, it's even worse than you think. According to insiders close to the situation, the FBI reached out to Durk's family for assistance in identifying the coded names in the letter. And when they presented the documents to his mother, she immediately recognized two of the aliases. Names she had personally heard mentioned in conversations back when Durk was still trying to leave the streets behind. They say her hands trembled, her eyes locked on the line. "If Mama knows, tell her to keep quiet." That's when it happened. She collapsed. Paramedics were called. The FBI paused the interrogation. One agent, off record, told local press she looked like a woman who just realized everything she feared was coming true. This wasn't some rap lyric. This wasn't clout chasing on Twitter. This was federal, bloody, and real. And now, everything's unraveling. Because if Lil Durk was being targeted in prison, and his own mother's name was dropped in the warning, the next logical question is, who sent it? And more importantly, why now? Now let's rewind a bit. Let's not forget who we're dealing with. This is Lil Durk, aka The Voice, aka one of the last standing kings of the modern Chicago drill era. His come-up was marked by tragedy, loyalty, and a whole lot of bodies. We're not going to sugarcoat it. King Von, his closest friend and artist, was murdered in cold blood. OGF has been tied to beefs with everyone from NBA young boys camp to random street names fans couldn't even pronounce. And yet, Durk kept rising. Tours, features, luxury homes. But behind the scenes, something dark was brewing. Insiders in the prison system claimed there had been whispers for months that a plot was forming. But nobody believed it. After all, who'd be crazy enough to leave a paper trail for a murder plot in a federal facility? Apparently, someone stupid or someone who knew they wouldn't be caught. That brings us to the letter. Not only was it covered in what experts claim was dry blood, potential from a fight that occurred the night before, but it was also wrapped in plastic and stuffed inside an envelope labeled legal mail, confidential. According to leak reports, that envelope passed through two different hands, an inmate known for running contraband between cell blocks and a new prison staffer who's now under internal investigation. Coincidence? We don't think so. But wait, it gets messier. On the back of the bloodstained page, the FBI reportedly found initials, barely legible, scrawled in fading black ink. Initials that match a known OTF affiliate who was arrested just 6 months ago for weapons trafficking. You connecting the dots yet? And here's the cherry on top. A second note, folded inside the same envelope, mentioned old tweets, black trucks, and Hollywood Hills. Now, I'm no conspiracy theorist, but if that doesn't scream someone's watching the industry from inside, I don't know what does. So, with the FBI on full alert, the hip-hop community in shambles, and social media turning into a digital war zone, everyone wants to know the same thing. Is Lil Durk safe? And more importantly, why was someone willing to die to get this message out? Because let's be clear, the kind of person who writes a letter like this in blood from inside a max security prison, knowing the FBI is crawling around, that's someone who's either already lost everything or someone who has nothing left to lose. And the fact that Durk's own mother was the first person to break down after seeing it, that hits different. But just when you thought it couldn't get worse, just when you thought the darkest twist had already hit the headlines, something else surfaced. One inmate, currently on 23-hour lockdown, reportedly bragged about seeing the letter a week before the raid. He told a visiting family member during a monitored call, "They gone find it, but it's too late. The list already out." Boom. That statement alone has now led to 5 more inmates being interrogated, 3 guards placed on leave, and rumors that this whole thing could be part of a bigger operation. Something that goes beyond one rap beef and might just expose a chain of connected hits tied to the very foundations of Chicago's street scene. And at the center of it all, Lil Durk. The question now is, does he even know who's behind it? Or worse, does he know and just can't say? Because let's not forget, the last time someone tried to talk, they ended up on a mural. And with his mother now traumatized, Vaughn's family calling for justice, and fans combing through every old IG live for hidden clues, the pressure has never been higher. But this is only the beginning, because the real question isn't just who wrote the letter, it's what did Durk do to get put on that list in the first place? So now we're staring at the biggest question of all. What did Lil Durk do to land himself on a hit list inside prison walls, and why now? Because let's keep it all the way real. This ain't just street envy. This ain't about clout. You don't dip a letter in blood, seal it in legal mail, smuggle it through a prison system crawling with FBI heat, and mark someone's name in red unless the stakes are life or death. And according to new whispers from inside the penitentiary system, this was no solo job. Reports claim the FBI has now identified what they're calling a circle of coordination, a group of at least 4 inmates, 2 of whom have alleged connections to Durk's past rivals, and one who was supposedly locked up the same week King Von was killed. And what's sending shivers through the hip-hop community is this. The list didn't just have Lil Durk's name on it. It had 3 more names, all blurred out in the leaked photos. But insiders say they're very well-known figures tied to the industry. Now, let's rewind back to the moment Durk's mom collapsed, because we just got confirmation that it wasn't just a letter that made her fall. It was what she recognized in it. See, one of the bloody corners of the note reportedly had a single symbol drawn in the corner. To the untrained eye, it looked like graffiti, but to her, it was a mark used by a now-defunct Chicago crew, what her son had been secretly trying to distance himself from for years. And guess what? According to a source close to the family, she allegedly told agents, if that symbol's there, it's personal. Someone feels betrayed. Boom. Let that sink in. That means this wasn't just about violence. This was revenge. And remember when we said Durk's mother and King Von's mother were once close? There's now speculation that after Von's death, tensions between the 2 families started cracking silently. One insider said the moms allegedly had a tense exchange backstage at a tribute concert last year, but cameras never caught it. And now, with Vaughn's mother going public demanding FBI involvement, and Durk's mom being pulled into the investigation against her will. It's like the sins of sons are dragging the mothers into a war they never wanted to fight. But here's where the plot thickens. Because according to a separate leak, the hit list letter was actually part 2 of something bigger. Agents reportedly recovered a burned piece of notebook paper from an inmate's cell weeks earlier, and initially tossed it out as nothing. But when they cross-referenced the handwriting, same slanted lettering, same ink streaks, same pressure points. And get this, that earlier note had only one line that was legible. The voice has to go quiet before the trial. Now, if you don't know, the voice is Lil Durk's nickname. And the trial? Oh, you forgot? There's a pending case, sealed for now, that prosecutors are calling critical to a broader criminal investigation into music industry laundering and organized violence. Yeah, you heard that right. Apparently, there's a growing federal theory that several artists, not just Durk, have been moving money, favors, and silence through the prison system using burner accounts, fake companies, and what they call emotional laundering. That means using traumatic events, like Vaughn's murder, to clean up dirty deals under the mask of tribute, funeral costs, or mental health donations. And suddenly, Durk's name showing up on a blood-soaked hit list doesn't seem so random anymore. But let's keep peeling the onion. You know, that anonymous guard we mentioned in part 1? The one who told investigators he had a bad feeling before the letter was found? Well, guess what? According to a leaked audio clip from an internal prison interview, that same guard admitted under pressure that he'd been receiving weekly Cash App deposits from an unknown number. Deposits that conveniently stopped the moment the FBI entered the facility. You want a number? $2,500 a week. Now multiply that by 3 months. That's $30,000 just to look the other way. And if that's happening on a prison salary, somebody big is bankrolling this. But that's not all. A new photo surfaced on Twitter late last night, now deleted, that appears to show a burner phone screenshot of conversation between an unnamed OTF member and someone with Chicago area code. The message reads, "It's handled. By next week, we clear the voice." And that's when fans really started panicking. Because now the theories are flying. Was this a real gang-ordered hit? Did someone from inside OTF flip? And why is Durk still quiet through it all? That silence is deafening. No tweets. No Instagram lives. No subliminals. In fact, the only thing we've seen is a cryptic Instagram story, posted and deleted, showing a black screen with white text that read, "It's always the ones who knew you before the chain." Oh, you felt that one, didn't you? So now, as investigators dig deeper, the industry is holding its breath. Because let's not forget, this all started with a $120,000 prison payoff, allegedly connected to an earlier cover-up. And now it's spiraled into a federal investigation, a hit list, a mother's breakdown, and what sources are calling a multi-layered betrayal with names fans know and love. But let's not sleep on the power of the internet, because fans, they've gone full detective mode. One TikTok theory, now with over 2 million views, breaks down a hidden message in one of Durk's past music videos where he's seen writing a letter, crumpling it up, and lighting it on fire while mouthing the words, "They know what they did." People are now speculating that Durk knew this day would come, that the letter found in prison is part of a bigger game being played by people way above our heads. And what about the other names on that list? According to a blog post quickly taken down, 2 of the blurred names are allegedly tied to rappers currently under investigation in Atlanta, and one of them had a known beef with OTF 3 years ago. Connect those dots however you want. But back to the moms, because this is where it gets personal. Vaughn's mom is reportedly planning to release a public statement, one that insiders say will include never-before-seen screenshots of private conversations between her and Durk's mother. Conversations that, if true, could prove that both women knew something was coming, but didn't know when. So now the world's watching, not just for justice, but for the moment someone finally breaks and says the truth out loud. Because right now, there's only one question that matters. If the FBI has a letter, if the moms know the codes, and if someone's paying off prison staff to silence the voice, then who's really pulling the strings? So here we are, staring down the biggest rap scandal in years, And it's not just about music anymore. This isn't a diss war. This isn't about billboard placements or who's got the flashiest diamond chain. This is about power, paranoia, and who lives to tell their side of the story. And right now, Lil Durk is stuck in the dead center of something he may not be able to walk away from. Not this time. Let's break it down. The FBI now has a bloodstained letter smuggled out of high-security prison, naming Durk and at least 3 other high-profile artists. His mother has collapsed after reading that letter, recognizing symbols and code names that date back to a violent era in Chicago. She thought her son had finally escaped. The rap game has gone silent, and social media is split between 2 sides. Those who believe Durk's being targeted, and those who think he's been on it the whole time. But here's where it turns pitch black. According to an exclusive leak obtained by a media affiliate, aka one of those anonymous Telegram whistleblowers who always seem to know too much, the FBI has found connections between the letter and a string of unsolved hits. Not just in Chicago, but Atlanta, Houston, and Miami. The letter allegedly includes initials, dates, and references to specific crime scenes that line up with real unsolved murders involving lesser-known rappers and affiliates. You hearing this? That means the hit list wasn't just a threat to Durk. It was a ledger, a blueprint of past work and unfinished business. And guess who's allegedly tied to funding the movement? A fake label, created just months after King Von's death, with no artists, no releases, no music, just money going in and out. Let that marinate. Now, in a moment that feels straight out of Netflix crime doc, a former inmate turned confidential informant has reportedly come forward claiming he was offered $15,000 and protection for his family if he agreed to testify that Durk orchestrated everything. His words? They told me he's done. Either we bury him in court or someone buries him for real. And just like that, the FBI's investigation tripled in size, and what started as a suspicious letter has become a full-blown RICO case in the making. But while all this chaos unfolds, Durk? Silent. Not a single post. Not even a story. But fans have spotted him recently, allegedly in Arizona, with heavy security and a completely altered routine. And according to someone who was at the airport, he looked tired, drained, and scared as hell. And who wouldn't be? Because this time, it's not just a tweet, not just a beef, not just a diss line and a track. This time, his mom collapsed after reading a letter soaked in real blood, with her son's name sitting right under the words, "Finish him." How do you come back from that? But wait, there's more. King Von's mother, who has remained mostly calm to the firestorm, allegedly just leaked audio to a private Discord group of her last phone call with Durk's mom, hours before the FBI showed up. In it, you can reportedly hear her say, "We knew this day would come. I just didn't think it'd be like this." Boom. That's the moment everyone started connecting dots. Because if they knew something was coming, that means this wasn't random. This was a storm years in the making. So what's next? Let's talk fallout. Behind the scenes, several industry figures are quietly cutting ties. One major music exec, who helped distribute multiple OTF projects, has now archived every post involving Durk. Another producer canceled a future collab, citing family reasons. But the fans aren't buying it. Everyone knows what it really means. The industry is distancing itself before the collapse. And trust, the collapse is coming. Because if the FBI finds even one confirmed link between that letter and a past murder, it opens a door to conspiracy charges, obstruction, and coordinated violence tied to rap labels and street crews. We're talking indictments, arrests, and potentially convictions. But let's not act like this is the first time the feds have sniffed around hip-hop. Remember what happened to GS9 or YSL? This isn't new, but it's getting more precise, more surgical, more bloodthirsty. And now, the fans who once screamed "Free Durk" are asking a new question. Did we ignore the signs all along? There are people going back through old interviews, IG lives, versus even fan Q&As, looking for hidden confessions. One clip resurfaced from 2021, where Durk, smiling in a studio, says, "I ain't scared of death, I'm scared of silence." A line that once sounded poetic now feels like a prophecy. And then there's the final piece. The moms. Because after all the smoke, all the rumors, all the paranoia, it's 2 mothers, bound by grief and confusion, who may be holding the last real truth. Vaughn's mom pushing for justice, Durk's mom trying to protect what's left, and somewhere in between them is a letter that changed everything. The public doesn't know what happens next, but insiders say the FBI has launched a private grand jury, reviewing evidence connected to the prison letter, the payment trails, and the coded references to cleanups after Vaughn's death. And if charges drop, it won't just be Lil Durk on that list. You might see a domino effect in the industry. Producers, handlers, even drivers being subpoenaed. Because this time, the feds are moving like fans, obsessive, meticulous, and watching everything. And to make it worse, people are scared to talk. Some are deleting accounts. Others are going ghost. And one former bodyguard just filed for relocation and changed his number after allegedly getting a warning call at 3 a.m. It's not just music anymore. It's survival. So what do we know? A bloodstained letter with a hit list. Lil Durk's name front and center. His mom recognizing coded threats and collapsing in federal custody. A conspiracy that spans multiple cities and a growing list of dead names. And an industry holding its breath, wondering, who's next? But let's make one thing clear. Whether or not Durk is innocent, whether this was all a frame-up, or whether the game finally caught up to him, there's no going back. Not after this letter. Not after that call. Not after a mother fainted reading her son's death warrant from behind bars. And if this is just the beginning, then the fall of Lil Durk may be the darkest saga hip-hop has seen yet. Because silence may protect you from fans, but it won't protect you from a letter soaked in blood. Now, the question isn't if Durk's name is on the list. It's what he's going to do about it. And what happens when they come for everyone else still breathing. Proceed to the call to action. Ready? So now that you've heard it all, the letter, the blood, the silence, the mother, the cover-ups, we have one question for you. Do you believe Lil Durk is the victim here? Or was this letter just karma finally catching up? Was this a setup by jealous enemies hiding behind prison bars? Or did Durk's past finally write a check he couldn't cash? We've seen rappers fall before. We've seen indictments, mugshots, fake tears, and public apologies. But we've never seen a mother collapse in front of federal agents after reading a blood-stained hit list with her child's name on it. This ain't rap beef. This is war. And when King Von's mother and Durk's mother both appear no more than they're saying, the fans are left in the dark, connecting threads and theories like it's a Netflix doc waiting to drop. So tell us in the comments, was Durk being hunted? Was someone inside OTF trying to take him out from the inside? Or is the FBI about to blow the roof off the entire music industry? Drop your wildest theory below, because someone out there knows the truth. And if we've learned anything from this madness, it's that the truth always bleeds through. Like, comment, and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what drops next. Because if this is the start of a RICO wave, your favorite rapper might be next. We're watching. The feds are listening. And the streets? They're already talking. Stay tuned. This story isn't even close to over.